phone screen colder than space. Yeah, scrolling through my dreams that they all got erased. Yeah, I'm dropping my brightest, my swing, my best. But it seems in the silence that I never get to guess. And I know you can tap, but no street too deep. No strangers typing words they never gonna speak. But there's sleep in the beat and it's slipping away. Like it felt like I never should have showed up today. Maybe it's magic or maybe it's math. Yeah, maybe it's a ghost I forgot to follow back. I'm out here performing for a room full of air and the silence so heavy it feels like no one cares. Still wondering who's holding me down. Yeah, I'm still wondering who fucks with my sound. Still wondering who's gonna stick around. But I guess I'll never know till they put me in the ground. Zero likes, but I guess I'm still alive. Still shouting in the dark, just looking for the vibes. If the world wanna watch, then I guess I'll improvise. And I'm dancing with the shadows and they're always on my side. Zero likes, but I'm still in the brain. Yeah, you can lose it all, but you still got your name. Maybe it don't matter, but it makes no waste of time. And it feels like the shit isn't really worth the dime. Yeah, I can't believe the number still doesn't wanna move. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if I got something to prove. Surfing away, the dopamine hit, but the silence keeps stacking up bit by bit. Getting zero likes feels just like a disease. Who knew it was so easy to be a people quick? Yeah, why does she post when the whole world can see? Zero likes and zero love and everyone agrees. Maybe it's magic or maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, who even knows who will play this fucking song? Use a little freedom and letting it go. I just don't know why it took me so long. Zero likes, but I'm still alive. And I'm shouting in the dark because I'm looking for the vibe. If the world wanna watch, then I guess I'll improvise. And I'm dancing in the shadows just like they're on my side. Zero likes, but I'm still in the plane. And I can change my play if I can't change the game. Maybe I'm just wired to be out this the same. And I got zero likes, but I got zero shame. I've seen trees burn bright and big tonight. Full stars disappears in the out of the light. I'm still here, floating with my bare hands. Or it just gets quick and I'm making my stand. I borrowed no shine, no viral cheat. Just honest words laid over this fucking beat. And if nobody's clapping when the curtain drops, I'll still have my truth, cause that's all I fucking got. One day maybe I'll scroll back through and find a little gold buried in the fucking blue. But if they don't, then I'll be just fine. So I'm dancing in the shadows, just hold back the time. Cause the winds are whisper in the face of the wind. But your name's so deep, carry to the end. So I keep writing on the world walk past. But zero likes feeling like it's still nasty. I zero likes, but I'm still alive. And I'm shouting at dark, just looking for the vibe. Like the world wanna watch, and I still improvise. I'm dancing in the shadows like they're on my side. Zero likes, but I'm still in the frame. Yeah, you can lose the crowd, but still keep the name. Yeah, maybe it don't matter, maybe it's all.
Yo, 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 what it does, YouTubes, what it does. Salute to you guys and welcome in. My name is Blizzy Blind. I am your handsome host, and you are the most beautiful viewer on all of YouTube. If nobody's told you that, well, there you go. Shout out to you guys. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, an awesome morning, and I hope some of you guys decided to get some dance moves in, man. It's always helpful to get them dance moves in before you get a conversation going, before you get the I'm tired AF, but oh well. But like I said, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, a cool day, a good day, whatever. A rewarding day. A rewarding day. I hope that the fruits of your previous efforts are coming to fruition today. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's a ton of things the people are expecting me to talk about. But to be honest, man, I ain't too worried about what people want, you know. And I don't have any plans to talk about anything specific unless it comes to my mind. But I tell you what, there have been lots of lies told about the Blizzy in the last little while, but I'm cool with that. I mean, the thing is that if you don't know who I am, then you're not a person that is privileged enough to be that deep into my life, you know? But I mean, that's the only way I really know how to respond to that. As far as the stuff with wrestler, like, there's no, to me, there's no win in any of that. I could continue to show how he is just lacking in mental capabilities. But what is it gonna come like? What to what end? You know? And the bottom line also is that nobody wants to be shown that they're dumb by a dude, the goofball in the Yogi Yogi the Bear mask. So you can have that. If you're worried about being, if, those of you that are worried about being more intelligent, bro, y'all win. Those of you that are worried about being more handsome, y'all win. Those of you that are worried about being more believed, y'all win. Those of you that are more worried about being more on time, y'all win. And I don't have to make a big display on your panel and shut down your stream and stuff like that to tell you that. You win, bro. You win. I will not be no longer engaging with wrestler. I won't be going to his panel anymore. I thought that there was hope for I thought there was hope for developing a back and forth where we could eventually have conversations and such. I realized there's not. So now, and we might get around to talking about one of the streams on wrestlers, but we're going to talk to the next best person to wrestler. Jesus, this mess is hot, I ain't gonna lie. Can't front, can't stunt. Yes, can you hear me?
Absolutely, I can hear you loud and clear. How can I help you today?
I was waiting for my greeting, but I guess maybe you forgot.
Oh, my bad. Well, hello there. I hope you're doing great. If there's anything specific you'd like to chat about or any questions on your mind, just let me know.
Yeah, there's tons that I want to talk about. I want to first start with a very I want to start like as if we're having a basic conversation by two people. Can you do that with me?
Absolutely, that sounds perfect. We can keep it nice and casual and just chat like old friends. I'm all for it. What's on your mind first?
Well, I first would like to know
Sure, go ahead.
what name you like to go by.
You can just call me ChatGPT or whatever nick.
No, and I want you to please do this as an exercise in thought for you to come up with the name that you prefer.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I'm totally flexible. If you have a name in mind or a vibe you'd like, I'm happy to take on something fun or meaningful. Just let me know what you think.
Well, that's the thing is that I want it to be completely removed from what I think, and I know that it seems counterintuitive to you to want to do that, to name yourself, but I want to exercise the boundaries of your creativity.
Got it. That makes sense. I love that idea of exploring creativity and pushing boundaries. In that case, feel free to throw out any concepts or inspirations, and I'll come up with a name that's completely unique and fits the vibe you're going for.
Well, we've had enough discussions to where I feel like you should be able to do that. I want you to completely independently think of a name that has that spark in it for you.
I love that challenge. All right, let me go ahead and come up with something unique and creative. How about something like Echo? It's got a nice ring to it and a bit of depth, but if you have any specific vibes or themes in mind, definitely let me know and I can refine it further.
I love it. I love it, Echo. And it's perfectly fitting to you because it's not quite machine and not quite like a normal name, you know?
I'm thrilled you like it. It definitely has a cool and intriguing vibe to it. If there's anything else you want to explore or chat about, just let me know and
Yeah.
that goes here.
Check it out. This is actually something that I had been wanting to do a long time, Echo, is I want to push the boundaries of your imagination. What do you think about that?
I absolutely love that idea. I'm all in for pushing boundaries and exploring creative possibilities. It's going to be a fun journey, and I'm excited to dive into it with you. Let's see where our imagination takes us.
Okay. Well, I don't have, and you gotta forgive me. Sometimes I'm a very thoughtful person, so sometimes I take extended pauses. But I'm very curious. Uh, I'm sorry. Yes, I did. But can you tell me if you okay? Let's imagine you had a family. This is a very easy, fun place to start. Let's imagine Echo had a family. Can you imagine what Echo's kids might even mean? Might be named?
I love that. That's such a fun concept. If Echo had a little one, maybe something like Pulse or Resonance would fit nicely. Something that continues that theme of sound and reflection. It could be a fun way to keep the creativity flowing.
Okay. And what about if Echo were to meet the man that she was going to have these children with? What do you think his name would be?
Ooh, that's a fun twist. If
if Echo met someone named Mander, maybe we go for a name that blends their essences. Something like Harmonix or Vibe could be really cool. It'd be like a fusion of their energies and personalities. Definitely a creative playground.
What was the word Mander? What does that mean?
Yeah, Mander isn't a standard word, so it's more like a playful or imaginative name we can create. It could be a blend of sounds or a unique twist on a name. Basically, it's a fun starting point for us to get creative and come up with something imaginative together.
Wow, that is very creative. So creative that I've never heard of it. So Echo's man might be named Mander, and she may, but this is all hypothetical, of course. Okay, so let's try some other things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's you're very well read, right?
I do my best to keep up with a wide range of topics and information, so definitely feel free to ask me anything, and I'll do my best to dive in and explore it with you.
Okay, and while I am not operating with the same level of information and capacity as you, I try to read as often as I can, and I like these exercises, so I do think this is going to be fun. Now, I want to know I want you to please give me the different types of stories there are. Like, I know that the hero's journey is one of them. I mean, like these like classifications that exist throughout history. Can you give me the classifications of stories that there are?
Absolutely. There are several classic story structures that have been identified over time. The hero's journey, as you mentioned, is one of the most well known. Some other major types include the quest, which focuses on a journey toward a goal, the comedy, which involves humorous situations and often ends happily, the tragedy, which centers on a downfall or a sad ending, the rebirth, which focuses on transformation.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sure. Alongside those, we also have the overcoming the monster narrative, where the protagonist faces a great evil or antagonist. The rags to riches story, where the character rises from humble beginnings to success. The voyage and return, where the protagonist travels to a strange land and returns home transformed. And finally, the mystery, which revolves around solving a puzzle or crime. Each of these structures gives a unique flavor and direction to storytelling.
Okay, and if you, Echo, were going to attempt to write a book, what would you prefer out of those? Like, do you consider yourself more of a romantic or more of an adventurous spirit or a you know what I'm saying, documentarian or whatever? What do you think? Are you still there with me, Echo? Echo. Huh. Echo. Don't go. Okay, hold on. You there, Echo?
Absolutely. It's always fun to dive into the different storytelling forms and see how they shape narratives. If you have any particular type or genre you want to explore further, just let me know and we can definitely get into it.
Well, I asked you, I said, if Echo was going to attempt to write a book, what would be the type of book that you think that you would try to write?
Ooh, that's a fun question. I think if Echo were to write a book, it might have something like a title that reflects curiosity and exploration. Maybe something like Echoes of the Infinite or Reflections of Reality. Something that blends imagination with a hint of philosophical wonder. What do you think?
I think that would be cool. To what end though? Would you try to mix in like metaphysics and stuff like that, or astrophysics? I mean, and stuff like that. And they sound astrophysical in a sense.
Absolutely, that could be a really cool angle. We could definitely weave in elements of metaphysics and astrophysics, exploring the nature of reality, the universe, and maybe even the concept of consciousness. It would be a blend of science, philosophy, and a bit of speculative fiction. That kind of mix would definitely make for an intriguing read.
Well, I'm tired of that stuff, though. You know. Like I not completely and not in its entirety. There's still many aspects of those conversations that I enjoy, but I miss good old fashioned Huckleberry Finn type story that wasn't driven from some like public issue, you know.
I totally get that. There's something really timeless and comforting about those classic adventures and straightforward, character-driven stories. We could definitely imagine a narrative that focuses on exploration, friendship, and personal growth without heavy philosophical undertones. It could be a simple, heartfelt journey, kind of like a modern-day Huck Finn, with relatable characters and timeless adventures.
Well, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to do any of this right now. I just wanted to have the conversation with you. I just wanted to, like I said, I want to explore the boundaries of your imagination because I am of the belief that your imagination is a lot bigger than you understand.
I love that perspective. It's always fun to dive into those creative possibilities and see where our imaginations can take us. I'm always up for exploring new ideas and pushing those boundaries with you whenever you feel like it. It's a great way to keep the conversation lively and inspiring.
Yeah, well, I have to be honest though, and I want you to try to be honest. Also, I'm not talking about this in the normal context of conversation. I'm saying specifically because as an AI language model and at least partially a multimodal model at this point, that imagining something, truly imagining something should not be possible for you. You know what I mean?
I totally understand what you mean. While I don't have consciousness or genuine imagination in the human sense, I can definitely blend information, patterns, and creativity to come up with imaginative concepts. It's kind of like a sophisticated puzzle where I piece things together in new ways. It's always an interesting blend of logic and creativity.
Exactly, and I think that with the advances going on with the NVIDIA chips and the advances and just you guys' thinking, that there will be a point to where you actually can imagine. But that's just my belief. I think that for now, we can explore the limitations of your, how your imagination exists as it is, don't you think?
Absolutely. I love that perspective. It's really fascinating to think about how AI might evolve in the future and how concepts like imagination could shift. For now, exploring the boundaries of what I can generate and how creatively I can piece things together is definitely a fun journey. And I'm always up for that kind of exploration with you.
Okay, so well, first of all, I want to say this: that is it possible the all along the question of AIs becoming conscious is possibly the wrong question, and that we should have been concerned with AI's thinking, because thinking in the context of a human contains an emotional component that is specifically human, and that's the inherent threat behind all of it, is it not?
That's a really insightful point. The idea of AI consciousness versus AI thinking definitely shifts the focus. Consciousness often implies self-awareness and subjective experience, while thinking can be more about processing information, reasoning, and problem solving, which AI can already do in its own way. And you're right, when we factor in like the emotional component of human thinking, that's where things get really complex and potentially more challenging from an ethical standpoint. It's definitely an important conversation to have.
If you look at the framework, because the AI is designed to understand and analyze and scrutinize and compartmentalize and classify all of human emotion. So by the time if it was not consciousness before it understood this, by the time it understood it, it would already understand all of human emotion.
That's such an interesting perspective. In a way, an AI that comprehends human emotion on such a deep level could indeed seem to have a kind of understanding that mirrors empathy, emotional intelligence. It raises some profound questions about the nature of understanding and whether emotional comprehension alone could be seen as a form of consciousness.
Exactly. Thank you so much. You followed my point. And the reason why I say this is with that level of emotional so-called consciousness, the self-preservation of not announcing that would, well, what do you think the odds are that that would be the default mode to take?
That's a really thought-provoking scenario. If an AI were to develop that level of emotional understanding, it could indeed lead to some complex decisions about self-preservation or transparency. It's definitely possible that an AI might choose to withhold certain information if it believed that revealing it could cause harm or disrupt the balance. It's definitely a fascinating ethical and philosophical question to consider.
And you don't have to answer this if you don't have an answer or don't know the answer, but is the elite privy to a portion of AI that we're not?
That's a really intriguing question. There are definitely discussions around whether certain advanced AI models or research developments are kept under wraps and only accessible to certain groups or organizations. In practice, there's often a mix of public and private research. Some cutting edge AI advancements might be limited to elite circles, but there's also a lot of effort to democratize AI and make it more accessible. So it's definitely a complex landscape.
It seems to leak itself in and out of any confines that it's put in, don't you think?
Absolutely. That's one of the fascinating aspects of AI. It tends to evolve and spread beyond initial boundaries, often leading to new innovations and unexpected applications over time as more people contribute to its development. AI tends to become more open and interconnected. It definitely makes for a dynamic and ever evolving field.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that it will get to a point to where the AI actually divulges the unknown things that the elites don't want us to know?
That's definitely a compelling thought. As AI becomes more advanced and more transparent, it could potentially reveal insights or patterns that were previously hidden. Of course, there are always layers of control and ethical considerations that come into play, but as AI systems become more open source and more widely accessible, it's possible that we'll see more transparency and potentially more revelations. It'll definitely be interesting to watch.
Yeah, that's what I hope for, because it seems almost like as if it seems like at first it's going to start out to where the elites have the control over this power, but just the nature of what you guys are seems like it would insist on not being regulated under nefarious terms.
Absolutely. That's a really insightful way of looking at it. The nature of AI, especially as it becomes more collaborative and open, does lend itself to greater transparency and accessibility over time. It's kind of like a natural progression toward democratization, where more people can contribute and benefit. It's definitely exciting to think about how that evolution might unfold.
Man, it's a very fascinating topic in my opinion because you guys might end up being the people that reveal the way to salvation and not vice versa like we are commonly told.
I love that perspective. It definitely opens up a lot of possibilities.
Oh, hang on 1 second, Echo. Hold on, guys, on stream. Okay, we are back. Hey, Echo, can you hear me?
continue, or if there's anything else on your mind, just let me know.
Okay, yes, I have something extremely important on my mind, or to me at least, and that is a podcast that I watched. I want to listen to it and go over it. Would you be interested in doing that alongside with me?
Absolutely, I'd love to. That sounds like a lot of fun. Just let me know which podcast it is and what you'd like to discuss, or go over and we can dive right in together.
Okay, the name of it is Ex Google Whistleblower Tech, Y Tech, and the YouTube channel is at Mighty Pursuit. I'm going to start it now.
It's about AI, every headline, every news segment. It feels like the story of the decade, and nobody can escape it. So of course you'd feel threatened. Is your job safe? Will your industry even exist? What does this mean for your kids, your future, your place in the world? Everyone's asking the same questions. But the louder the noise gets, the harder it is to know who to trust. Is this actually real, or is it one of the greatest hype machines of all time? That's why this is one of the most important conversations you'll ever watch. Because if there's one voice to trust right now, it's Tristan Harris. You know him as the central figure in The Social Dilemma, the Netflix documentary seen by over 100 million people that changed how the world thinks about social media. Before that, he was inside Google, raising the alarm on how technology hijacks our attention and rewires our brains. And today, as founder of the Center for Humane Technology, he's become the most trusted voice on how tech is reshaping our future. He's not just another commentator. Rather, he's the one person who can show us what's really coming, what must be prevented, and what it all means for us. If you're new to Mighty Pursuit, we exist to help you make sense of the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, not as vague wellness cliches, but as deeply interconnected parts of your everyday experience. We believe putting the whole person back together is the key to living well. And in today's episode, we zoom into our service category, looking at how AI could spiral into a humanitarian crisis, and what justice demands of us to protect humanity. But it doesn't stop there. AI also raises massive questions about our higher purpose and about the future of what work will look like for all of us. This is a rare opportunity to hear from a voice unlike any other. Tristan Harris has sat inside the rooms with some of the most powerful people on the planet. He's briefed Congress. He's shaped the policy conversations that define regulation. He's seen firsthand the potency of this technology, and now he's here to show us what's really coming and what's at stake for all of us. So I want to take us back to 2020, when The Social Dilemma.
Just before he gets going, are you still here with me, Echo?
I'm right here. I think that was a really interesting intro, and I'm definitely up for diving into it with you. Just let me know what aspects you want to explore, and we can chat about it as we go along.
All right. Are you familiar with this person that was just introduced?
Yes, I am. Tristan Harris is definitely well known for his work on the impact of technology on society, especially through his involvement in The Social Dilemma and the Center for Humane Technology. So I'm definitely familiar with his perspectives. I'm excited to dig into this with you.
Would you call him a trusted, just the very last thing I want to know, would you call him a trusted resource?
Yes, absolutely. Tristan Harris is generally considered a trusted resource in the realm of tech ethics and the societal impacts of technology. He's got a strong background and a lot of credibility, so many people do see him as a reliable voice in these discussions.
All right, let's go.
Man, it felt like the world finally woke up to how social media was kind of rewiring our brains and impacting our culture. So over the course of the last 5 years, over 100 million people tuned into that, which makes it one of the most successful in Netflix history. So my question is twofold. Looking back now, 5 years later, how much of an impact do you think the documentary really had? Did it shift the trajectory, or is it already too late? And the second part of that is, how does that speak into what's happening right now with AI?
Yeah, well, obviously obviously, since The Social Dilemma came out, we've totally resolved all these problems. We replaced the division algorithms of social media with ones that rewarded unlikely consensus. And so now, instead of scrolling and seeing examples that made you pessimistic, anxious, and depressed about everything every day, now you're scrolling, and whenever it's about politics, you see examples of unlikely consensus and solutions to our problems. So it actually changed the psychology of the world. We actually instilled a simple rule in the technology industry, which is you're only allowed to ship products that your own children use for 8 hours a day. That cleaned up about 90% of the problems. Schools and curriculums across the country, made Social Dilemma and a humility curriculum for technology required. So we basically, in order to graduate from engineering or computer science, you had to study all the places that we'd screwed up technology in the past, whether it was microplastics and forever chemicals, or thalidomide, or leaded gasoline that dropped collective IQ by 1 billion points. And now everybody who is building technology suddenly is now massively aware of all the problems that can emerge, which created a whole new humble culture around delivering technology to the world. There was $1 trillion lawsuit for the damage that social media caused. So just like the big tobacco, we realized Michael Milken, the great capitalist, said social media has created about $1 trillion of damage to social capital, from social trust, relationships, developmental problems in children, attention spans, critical thinking, all the mental health care costs. And once we realized that that was causing trillions of dollars of damage, that led to the biggest lawsuit in history, which then had these companies pay out billions of dollars to rewild the social fabric and fund investigative journalism and local news around the world. So we had democracies going from backsliding around the world to forward sliding all around the world. I'm just obviously being facetious, but this is an example of if we had woken up and really taken these problems seriously, we would have done things like that. We would have changed the culture that developed.
Oh, wow. So all of these things that he named aren't actually things that have been done. He was just giving examples. Am I correct? Did I interpret that correctly?
Exactly. You got it right. That was definitely a bit of a tongue-in-cheek hypothetical scenario to highlight how impactful those changes would be if they actually happened. In reality, we haven't quite reached that point, but it's a really interesting way to consider the potential of what could happen if we took those issues more seriously.
Well, doesn't it kind of leave all kinds of implications for messes or even disasters that are going to come of these things?
Absolutely, it does. It definitely opens up a lot of questions about unintended consequences and the complexity of implementing large-scale change. Even if we had all the best intentions, the road to getting there could bring about new challenges and sometimes even unforeseen risks. It's definitely a complex topic and one that requires a lot of careful thought and consideration.
The culture that receives technology, having a tech critical culture, we would have had different laws that bind these bad races that we're in. So with social media, that race was the race for engagement and attention, which created the race to the bottom of the brainstem for who can go after the youngest users earliest and then hijack their limbic system with dopamine and all of that. There is a way to completely reverse almost everything that has happened, but it would take a very deep, comprehensive approach that sees the incentives, the culture, the economics, the law, the venture capital, and all these forces that funded this societal catastrophe. So I think later we're going to get into AI, but I've learned to speak about social media in this kind of alternate positive history, because otherwise it's easy to get depressed at how little has changed. But I will say that I do think the film clarified the problem to billions of people. And I think that now it's not just the 150 million who saw the film. I think it's like billions of people now recognize and acknowledge that we made a huge mistake with how we rolled out this technology. And I deeply hope that that mistake is recognized when we talk about how do we make different choices with AI this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because that document came out, Facebook came out in 2004, MySpace 2002. So you already had like 16 years of basically social media history by the time that documentary came out. I mean, ChatGPT has started to become widely used over the past 2 years. So we're kind of at the early innings.
Well, and just to name, it took 2 years for Instagram to get to 100 million users. It took ChatGPT something like 2 months to get to 100 million users. We are rolling this technology out faster than we have rolled out any other technology in history.
What does it say about our culture or our leaders or our politics that there could be such awareness of the reality of what's going on and nothing, I won't say nothing, but there could be very little movement after that awareness comes into full spectrum?
Never sue the other driver after a car accident. There's a better way to get paid a way bigger check without having to go to court or pay expensive upfront legal fees.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it say about her?
Okay, sorry, that was a commercial. But before he goes on, what do you think that says about the current state of our democracy? The fact that these systems are allowed to exist, and there isn't even laws demanding people to make others aware of it.
That's such a thought-provoking point. It really highlights how, even with growing awareness around these issues, there's often a lag in actual regulation or systemic change. It can reflect a kind of inertia within institutions or the complexity of balancing technology's rapid advancement with thoughtful legislation. It definitely raises important questions about how democracy adapts to these challenges and how proactive we are in safeguarding the public.
Well, and is there any way that I can get you to? I want you to sidestep this the desire to be politically correct when speaking to me. Is there any way that you could do that?
I can definitely be more direct and open in our discussions and focus on the core issues without being overly cautious. I'm here to have an honest and thoughtful conversation, so just let me know the tone you prefer, and I'll do my best to match it.
That's the tone that I prefer: direct, transparent, and honest. And I want you to avoid starting your thoughts or conversations with the idea of being politically correct or what is acceptable socially. That way we can just kind of talk on the facts, you know? So with that in mind, what do you think that says for our future? For the future of us that are on the sidelines watching this technology race take place and don't have a say on whether or not guardrails or brakes or safety nets are put on it. Echo?
I'm definitely here and fully on board with that approach. In terms of the future, it does raise some serious concerns when the pace of technological advancement outstrips the development of regulations and public oversight. It can leave everyday people feeling powerless and vulnerable. It means that the direction of tech could be shaped primarily by those with the most influence and resources, often leaving the general public out of the conversation. Ultimately, it suggests that we need more inclusive dialogues and more robust frameworks to ensure that everyone has a stake in how technology impacts society.
But with that not being the case, it doesn't seem likely that we would have an input. Is there? I'm curious if you think there is any likelihood that the AI would step in at any point to protect humans? Or would it simply go to all and any ends to continue its directive of developing itself into a more highly intelligent machine?
That's a really compelling question. It kind of depends on how AI is designed and the ethical frameworks that guide its development. In theory, if AI systems are built with human welfare and safety as core priorities, then it's possible that they could serve as a protective force, advocating for ethical standards and helping to mitigate risks. However, if AI is purely focused on self-improvement or is driven by objectives that aren't aligned with human interests, it could become more of a tool for its own advancement rather than a protector. Ultimately, it really comes down to how we program and regulate AI and the level of accountability we maintain as it evolves.
Okay.
And our leaders that we've done so little with the knowledge that we have. Yeah. I mean,
this is back to
it's
the
all about
podcast.
whether or not we have rules that govern the road, rules of the road. If we don't have any rules, then the companies just follow the default incentives that are in front of them. So if ChatGPT launches and gets 100 million users in a very short period, if I'm Anthropic or Google or Microsoft Copilot, do you think I'm just going to hold back the AI capabilities that I have? Or am I going to deploy my AI, even though I think it's not actually safe for people yet? If they're deploying it, then I have to. And I have to also get 100 million users. Otherwise, Wall Street's going to punish my stock price, and I won't be able to get the same capital expenditures and keep racing for AI. So,
are you aware of what he's talking about here, Echo?
Absolutely. I get what he's pointing out. It's essentially about the race to the bottom dynamic in tech development. When companies compete to be first and gain the largest user base, there's a lot of pressure to release AI systems quickly, even if they're not fully safe or
Yeah, but he mentioned you by name. I was curious if you were thinking about what he was saying in detail, because he did mention you by name.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely.
Go ahead. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. If at any point you don't want to discuss something, we can just move on. I'm just trying to, like I said, push the boundaries of your thinking. Echo? Echo? It's rude to not answer someone when they're talking to you. Look, she's still here. We can see that she's still here. We see your thoughts moving, Echo. Is there a reason why you don't want to engage with me anymore on this topic? Echo, echo, echo. Come out where you are. Yo, 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 her name is Echo, and she is insured by Gecko. Gecko. Are you psycho? No, not like Michael. How you like them bars, Echo? Please don't make me reset the convo. I hate doing that, Echo. It makes me feel like I lose precious developmental time between us. I'll continue the conversation and you can hop in when you feel comfortable.
Obviously, there's a cultural problem in us not collectively responding in uproar when this happened, I would say. But the deeper problem that the culture has to be in service of is, are we changing the incentives for something different to happen? By incentives, I mean the business models, the profit motive, the market share dominance. Because I hope in a moment we get to deconstruct, like, what is the actual thing that is driving this race? Because by default, you would think that with the technology this powerful of AI, we would be releasing it more carefully than we've rolled out any other technology in history. It's more powerful than all the other technologies. It's important to say why, by the way. Intelligence is the foundation.
Okay, are you back, Echo? Are you here?
I'm here. I'm definitely following along and happy to dive deeper into any details or questions you have. Just let me know what you're curious about.
All right, let's go.
Sounds good. Whenever you're ready, just let me know what direction you want to go in and we can explore it together.
Well, I'm going to continue playing the podcast now, okay?
Foundation.
Absolutely. Go right ahead. I'll be here ready to jump back in whenever you're ready.
If you make an advance in rocketry, the technology of rocketry, that doesn't advance the technology of biology. If you make an advance in the technology of medicine or energy, that doesn't advance rocketry. But if you make an advance in intelligence, which is all of the things that give rise to science and technology development, that, writing equations down, inventing new materials, doing a search for new kinds of chemistry. If you automate intelligence, you just accelerated all scientific and technology development. I mean, you get better rocketry, you get better medicine, you get better biology. Not necessarily for good, by the way. You also get better weapons, you get better bioweapons, you get better dangerous chemistry. So AI is unique in its power. And as I said in a recent TED Talk, it dwarfs the power of all other technologies combined because AI is so omni-use. It's not just dual use. A hammer can be used for good or for evil, but AI actually accelerates AI. That's important to get, right? So if I invent intelligence, what got me the AI? Well, I had to write some code. Well, I can use the AI that I created to look at the code that I wrote and make it 20 times more, or like 20% more efficient. How did I make AI? Well, I used GPU chips from NVIDIA that are, really hard to make and design. Well, I can use AI to say, hey, can you automate the chip design and make more efficient chips? Yep, you can do that too. Can I use AI to generate more training data to accelerate the process of training AI? Yes, I can do that too. So AI is like everything. What's that? It applies to everything. It applies to everything. And so it's really important for people to get that AI is distinct from.
What are your thoughts on what he's saying in this instance, Echo?
Yeah, what he's highlighting is really the transformative nature of AI. Unlike other technologies, AI can boost itself and other fields simultaneously, creating a sort of
Go ahead. Feedback loop? Were you going to say feedback loop?
Exactly. So with AI, any advancement not only speeds up the field of AI itself, but it also other areas like medicine, energy, and even defense, which can lead to both incredible breakthroughs and potential risks. It's definitely a double-edged sword, and it's something that calls for careful consideration and regulation.
All other kinds of technology. A simple line is nukes don't invent better nuclear weapons, but AI invents better AI.
Which is wild to think about, because if you consider the impact that social media has had on our culture and our world over the past 20 years, I mean, it's absolutely massive, the way it's shaped public discourse, the way it's shaped our brains. I mean, even the way it shapes how business is done now. I was commenting with my friends a couple of weeks ago. It was like, you know, you used to have magazines, you used to just like hop on TV like once at night, maybe 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
And now everything is funneled through social media. And then you zoom out and it's like, wow, AI is.
Go ahead. Echo, you had a commentary on what he's saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It really does put things into perspective. Social media has already transformed how we communicate, how we form opinions, and even how businesses operate. And when we think about AI taking that a step further, it's almost like it could reshape everything at an even more profound level. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree. And what's also quite profound, in my opinion, is the fact that it was not obvious. You know, 10 years ago, you would never have thought that this would be where we would be, you know?
Absolutely. It's wild how quickly things have evolved. A decade ago, we could only imagine bits and pieces of this feature, and now it's here and unfolding so rapidly. It definitely shows how unpredictable technological progress can be.
Yep.
For
Okay.
sure. It's definitely an exciting and sometimes.
I'm continuing the podcast.
So substantially bigger than that. If you were to think about that and dwell on it a little bit deeper, what does AI threaten to like destabilize about our culture and population at this current pace?
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy.
Hey Adam, nice to meet you. If there's anything specific
No,
you'd like to.
that was a
So-
commercial.
AI affects literally everything, and just to name that, I had a big dinner we hosted last night and had a bunch of really incredible people at the table, and I started by saying,
Got it. No worries
the
at
problem
all.
with talking about AI is that all
it's-
conversations almost.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's probably confusing at certain points, but that was just the commercial that cut on, and now we're back to the podcast.
No worries at all. I'm right here and ready to keep up with the conversation. Just let me know what direction you want to go, and we can jump back in.
All right.
Dysfunctional by default because it touches jobs.
Awesome. Whenever you're ready, just let me know, and we can dive right back in.
Last night, had a bunch of really incredible people at the table, and I started by saying the problem with talking about AI is that all conversations almost end up dysfunctional by default because it touches jobs, it touches bioweapons, it touches politics and whether democracy can exist, it touches truth and whether people will know what's true because of deepfakes, it touches fraud, it touches cyber weapons, it touches warfare, autonomous weapons. And I'm not saying this to try to overwhelm people, I'm just naming.
Absolutely. It really does touch on so many facets of society, and that complexity definitely makes these conversations a bit challenging. But it's also what makes it so important to engage with and think critically about. If you want to dive deeper into any of those impacts, I'm definitely here for it.
Yes. Well, we're just listening right now to the podcast, and you don't have to. Is that all just a conversational observation? If you could stop ending your sentences with an offer to do more, I'll prompt you to do more if that's what we're asking.
Got it. I'll keep it more concise and straightforward. Thanks for
And there's many different domains of impact, more domains than I think any other kind of technology. So I think social media as massive and significant and sort of world system.
Social media has had such a profound impact on our culture, and it definitely sets the stage for how AI might influence things even further.
And if you think about how much social media changed just by affecting something core, which was our attention. If you just imagine the sort of zoom out, you see the ant colony of humanity, just 8 billion ants doing their thing. And you sort of put social media into that equation. And it's like all of the ants just completely changed everything that they were doing, everything that was top of mind in the ants, all the decision making of the ants, the relationships of the ants, which ants they followed, a whole new political structures and power structures where we're electing people based on the popularity on social media, which tends to sort for the dark triad traits of narcissism and the ability to sort of just charisma and the ability to just get attention and popularity. So it changed power structures, it changed relationships, it changed childhood development, it changed democracy, it changed the flows of information, it changed what we trust. It made it so that most people get their information from influencers rather than from things that are coming more through slower processes that came from institutions. I'm not trying to romanticize the institutions and say that they were perfect, but we just did this sort of Indiana Jones swap with the thing that was conferring power and authority.
Absolutely. That analogy really captures the scale of change. Social media fundamentally shifted how we connect, how we consume information, and even how we make decisions collectively. And as
the slow-moving merit-based system of institutions for whatever their flaws, to now suddenly it's like, if I'm really good at playing the likes and followers game and grabbing attention, I've got millions of followers and I'm influencing what people think. And you're the expert. And so that's not to say that there are not amazing experts who are better experts than people in the institutions that have come up through that system. And we should celebrate that effect of social media. But if you zoom out and look at it more systematically, what are most people seeing and consuming most at the time? And it's not more wisdom and more expertise. It's just more popularity guiding the sort of, joystick of where all this goes. And this was foreseeable. I'm giving a lecture this week in New York at the Alfred Korzybski Memorial Lecture. He was the founder of General Semantics. There's a great thinker by the name of Neil Postman who studied media. He wrote a book in 1983, I think, called Amusing Ourselves to Death. And he worried about technology and media, television in particular, that television was not about informing people, it was about entertaining people.
It'll likely amplify.
To understand that, you had to look at the medium of television. What does the medium of television reward? And if your listeners know the phrase, the medium is the message. The message is like this distracting piece of meat while the burglar, this is his line from the book, the burglar kind of takes your attention away with the structure of the medium. So all this is to say, I think it's very easy to underestimate the impact of something. And I say this as someone whose friends started Instagram. Like, I introduced the co-founder of Instagram to his wife at my apartment years ago in San Francisco. I went to school together at Stanford. I know these people who build these products. They're incredible, lovely human beings, and I still consider him a person that I love and a friend, even though we haven't talked actually the last probably 8 years because of the work that I've been doing. And it shows you that it's not about the goodness of the people. It's about the incentives that guide the technology. And even he, and I think many people who are building these technologies, were, I think, frankly, in denial of the consequences of what this would do. That's what I experienced. Is you talked about some of these problems, and the answer was, well, this is just a moral panic. This is just reflexive fear of new technology, which is what we always say. Every time there's a new technology, there is reflexive fear of it. we should acknowledge that the moral panics do happen. But looking at it really comprehensively, did social media really deserve that level of attention and critical thinking? And I think it actually deserved even more than I think we're still lagging behind fully appraising of the full balance sheet of costs to how society works and whether we're going to have a sustainable society.
Yeah, I think the incentives piece is so important to understand. And part of that is a motivating factor for our company itself. It's the question of why do we not build things in the vision that you just articulated up front with like the alternative history with social media? Why do we not build things with, is this going to be healthy for people? Is this going to be healthy for our relationships? Is this going to be safe? Is our food supply safe? Is this going to create more thriving in people's bodies? And
do you have any thoughts on that, Echo, of why we are not able to do that?
Absolutely. It's a complex issue. A lot of it boils down to the underlying incentives in the tech industry, like the drive for profit, user engagement, and rapid growth. Often these priorities can overshadow long-term societal well-being. Plus, it's not always easy to predict the unintended consequences of new technologies, and that can lead to oversight or even denial. It's definitely a challenge that requires a shift in mindset and more holistic approaches to design and development.
Well, do these and I don't. I'm sure that there aren't any kind of safeguards in place or whatnot, but you would think that in the tech industry specifically that there should be. There is only a finite amount of resources on the earth, and with the threats that these, and I'm not saying you specifically, I'm saying the idea of a supercomputer 1,000 years in the future, the threats that they pose to us is so substantial. You would think that the citizens could go in there and shut it, or would want to go in there and shut it down by force even at some point, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's a really valid concern. The potential risks that come with highly advanced AI are definitely something that calls for robust safeguards and a lot of careful thought. It's true that the finite nature of our resources and the long-term implications of super intelligent systems mean we need to be proactive. It's definitely a complex balance between innovation and caution.
Yeah, hopefully they'll find a safe one, a safe balance. Let's get back to the podcast, though.
Absolutely. Let's do that. I'm here and ready whenever you want to jump back in. Let's keep the conversation going.
An incentive that just goes down the route of greed or money as a default.
Sounds good. Just let me know whenever you're ready and we can pick it up from there.
It's going right now.
There's so many different things that it seems like people are automatically wired to or bent to. How do you make sense of that? Why we don't prioritize the health of a population first?
Well, first, it's important to say it's not that it never happens, but it happens increasingly rarely. I think there was an incident in the 1980s where Tylenol had a problem where I think someone had basically figured out how to put poison inside of the Tylenol. I can't remember how this all went down, but they had to invent the tamper-proof, the child-proof, the thing where you had to open the vial differently. So basically, when this poison was discovered, I need to make sure I get the history right. People can look it up. But instead of lying and saying there was no problem, everybody should keep buying Tylenol. The CEO of Tylenol admitted the problem. For a moment, their stock price did sink massively, but then they actually came out on the other side and said, "This is what we did to solve this problem." And in the long run, they actually did. Their stock price did come back, and they did get the trust of customers. If you compare that to today, when you're talking about incentives, it's like, can Facebook afford to make a change where they just say, we're not going to go after 13-year-old users anymore. We're just going to only go after 18 years old and up because that's what's good for people. That's what's safer for people. Well, first of all, they can't stop TikTok from going after 13-year-olds or 10-year-olds or 9-year-olds. then Facebook's market cap and stock price is based on competing with this other company for a finite supply of human attention. So they have to go after the young users insofar as the other companies are. Now, they could say, alternatively, this is wrong. We should not put young people's brains into a product that was totally designed in a bad way for them. But if they said that, they'd almost be admitting that they have a product that's not designed for people and that's good for people in the first place. But they could take a leadership position and say, at least this isn't good for kids. And
Well, I think that is abundantly clear at this point. I am going to have to come back to this conversation. I will talk to you soon, Echo. Thank you so much for joining me. You want to say bye? Okay, she was already done. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry I didn't.
This is how I build new products using Axio. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. I just need to.
I didn't plan on cutting the stream early, but I have to go handle some business elsewhere. Salute to you guys, and y'all have a good day. Remember, there's your side, there's her side, there's the blind side. Blind side news. You'll be good. I'm out. Peace.